All right, so I'm getting around trying to complete the final, not the final design because I have to do all of this on a mobile device, meaning that I can't get like the accuracy and the detail that I want that I could get if I used like a mouse and keyboard computer. But for what I have, I think it's pretty good. So for my game, I've got three different card types. I got the creature, I've got items, and then I've got field and events, which are pretty much, field cards, combo extenders. They help you do more actions within the game, and that'll be later described in like another video. But I want to try and break down each card in order to explain how they work as opposed not as opposed, but how they work within the game themselves, like how they function and whatnot. So we're gonna start with I'm gonna start with describing the creature. So for the first thing I'm going to talk about is the name. Oh, I can't get on. The name right here. So my game works. So for naming, my game works on like an archetype system, so much like Yu-Gi-Oh! How you'll have an entire set of creatures with like the same or similar names, like oh, what's a good one? Um, Blue Eyes, made with eyes of blue, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Deep Eyes, Blue Eyes Chaos Max, etc., etc. Like the creatures in my card do the same thing somewhat. This one in particular is not a good example, but so its name is Pyrochiru, and it's like that because it represents fire, but its base name would be Chiru. So you have like others for like see fire, water, earth, wind, and plant, and they all have names based on the elements that they come from. So it works that way. You'd have other creatures who would have more defining defining archetype. I can't say that word. Defining archetype names to help them out with abilities and targeting and whatnot. So there's that. And then for the second thing over here, I call this the attribute size. So what this is it tells you the elemental attribute of the creature it represents, which is one of the five, which is again fire, water, earth, wind, and plant. And a real quick thing, the the size matters because in my game you can only summon. In my game, size is the summoning cost. So you have a field of. I'm going to write over this for a second. So you have a field of 5 spaces, and what you can do is, if you were to want to summon this creature, what you would do is you would take 2 spaces on the field, get a different color. What you would do is you would take 2 spaces on the field, and then you would summon that creature in either one of those 2 spaces. And I guess I can move down to this area here. This is the what I call the stance abilities. This and what this is these are abilities that take effect depending on where you summon your creature on the field. So you've got I wrote over it, but you've got alpha, beta, AVG, alpha, beta, and gamma. And what you would do is alpha would be in the front, beta would be on the sides, and then gamma would be in the back. And what this is it isn't exclusive, but for the majority of it, it's alpha would be like offensive, beta would be like a mix of offense and defense, and then gamma in the back row would be like support. So um, much like how you would play an RPG and you would have certain characters that have a certain role in certain ways. This is how that game plays. So let's say you wanted to put extra damage on an opponent, you would summon this creature to the front. I'm explaining the summoning mechanic when I said I do that in the later, whatever. So you would summon it to the front here, and then you would activate its ability, which would allow you to put extra 5 damage on top of the damage it can already do towards that creature. And I'm going to explain more about the size summoning mechanic later. But speaking of damage, first let's talk about. I'm going to talk about Ooh, excuse me, I'm talking a lot. I'm going to talk about the creature stats. So let me erase this. Let me just erase some of that so you can see. So the creature stats are actually very important. They tell you the shape of the creature, which is there. I think at the moment I've got three. It's humanoid, beast, and then amorph, which basically just means formless, which is what this is. It's not a human, it's not a beast. It's just a thing. And then the creature's type, which is for this one it's elemental since it's elemental based. Well, they're all elemental based, but since it's purely elemental based, it's an elemental. But there's like a whole, I've got a whole list of creature types and subtypes, and that can also be a thing for later. But what I want to really get into is the battle stats, which is what these are right here. So so if you've played a card game or you've played any kind of thing where you use stats for anything, then you pretty much know what these are. Strike here is for attacking. Guard here is for it. It's kind of for defending, but you don't really actively defend. This is just more of your life point. This is more of the creature's life point hit point box system. Hit point box. This isn't the game. This is the creature's like uh, health system, and then range is basically how far the creature can attack. So, referring back to the little field thing I drew, let's say you had a creature that was up here in front. If it only has a range of one, oops, okay, whatever. 1, 2. If it only has a range of one, then it would only be able to attack the creature right in front of it. If it had a range of 2, it would be able to attack the creature in front of it or on the side. And since it's in front, it would be able to attack any creature on either side. If it was 3, it would be able to attack 3 creatures, and so on and so forth. Um, the highest it can go is 5, and the reason why 5 rather than just having 3 is because if you move the creature back, well, then now that's an extra target you have to get, and if you move it further back, then that's another target you have to get, and then even with that, there are some abilities and some, well, let's just call them abilities. There's some abilities where you can only target a certain amount of creatures based on your range. So let's say you had like 3 range, you can attack 3 different creatures as opposed to just attacking one at a time. But getting too far into that again, I'm trying to hurry up and not load up my load up my device with so much storage that I can't like edit the video or anything. So I'm gonna erase all of this. Um, and then for the last part of the card, it's where's my pen? It's the main ability. Now the main ability is basically just the ability that can be used anywhere on the field. So if you summon it in any spot, it can still use this effect. And most of the time, the main ability can also come into line with one of the stance abilities. This one in particular is more of just it's more of just a summoning mechanic. You know, you have there's an original form for this card called Chiruchi, which is just like a white ball of light. That's like, I don't know why I'm trying to explain it any further. It's just pretty much just like a white ball of light that gets that's how it gets its different forms. So if you ever played like Pokemon and you've seen like let's say cast form, the little cloudy thing that changes based on where you are in the game or what weather you make. That's how this works. Or even better yet, Eevee. Eevee is a much better one. Everyone knows Eevee, but basically it does that. Once once this original monster comes into contact with an element, so like if it's attacked by a fire creature, it turns into Pyrochiru. If it gets attacked by a water creature, it turns into its water form, and earth form, wind its wind form, and so on and so forth. Uh, I'm gonna end this part right here because my throat kind of hurts. But this is the anatomy of the creature card, and there is actually a few more stuff that I got to get into, but as I said before, this is starting to hurt my throat. So this is all I got for now, and then I will hopefully in this video, maybe if I do it, I'll put the other two cards anatomies in within it, because I'm really trying to get this done, and it's pretty much there. I just got to finalize the designs of the creatures and then figure out a way to get it play tested and sent to me through I've seen a few sites. Right now I think TCG Player would be the easiest. There are some other sites that I feel do things a little bit more, but that's like in terms of like rarity and stuff. And speaking of which, I'm not quite sure if there was rarity supposed to be in this. I thought I wrote something down somewhere on the card, but I think it's just like an older version, so I'm gonna have to find a newer design. But yeah, that's it for this one. All right, so I realized I didn't really explain the importance of the creature. I don't think I did. I'm not sure. So if I didn't, this is gonna be slipped in the video. But wait, am I talking too far? What I should probably go into deeper explanation of is that abilities of creatures and other cards may have a different effect depending on what kind of creature or what the size and what the creature species is. So like I said before, amorph, formless, humanoid, looks like a person, beast, it's pretty much a monster, and then elemental, this is the species. I don't think I actually said that in the earlier thing, so I'll say it here. Elemental, every creature has two species. Oh no, well, that's clearly a lie right here. But most creatures have two species. They'll have like the which one is this? So they'll have like the main. They'll have like the main species, and then they'll have the secondary. So let's pretend like this thing was. Let's pretend this thing was like a dragon instead, and instead of like a ball of fire or whatever it is, it would be. It would be a beast. Beast would go here. It could still be an elemental, which it won't be because that's actually because in that game elementals are pretty OP, but these are like the starter creatures that everybody's gonna have to figure it out. But it'd be elemental dash dragon. Can't really write on this, but elemental dash dragon, or it'd be dragon elemental, etc., etc. And depending on what the card says about the specific species, the effect could be different. It could be better, it could be worse, it could be neutral, or it may not even be able to use the card at all because there will be some cards that only certain creatures can use. So that's my little slip in put there. Yeah.